I'm rewatching Breaking Bad-ish.
Oh.
I should say Breaking Bad. I'm rewatching Breaking Bad right now. And I found that it's actually a really easy show to just kind of casually put on in the background after you've watched it.
Oh, after you've watched it?
Yeah. Because like it's captivating when you sit down and actually just watch it. But a big thing about Breaking Bad, and when you've never seen it, is kind of like the reveal of everything as it unravels. Once you know it, you're just kind of like waiting for that next beat, you know, type thing. So, which is fine. I mean, it's still like one of it might actually be, in my opinion, the best TV show ever written. And I've heard that Better Call Saul is better, and I haven't watched Better Call Saul yet. So
that's weird.
What?
I don't know. You like Breaking Bad a lot, so I just thought you would have gotten around to it by now.
I kind of wanted Better Call Saul to end first, and now that it has ended, it's also ended for a while, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I'll get there. Don't worry. I'll call Saul. I'll call him.
Oh yeah, Acolyte finished. I can finally watch that.
Yeah. But
Breaking Bad. Still haven't finished it.
Yeah. So you have started it.
Yeah. They got pretty good at making meth.
I mean, that's like the very beginning.
Yeah.
Do you know who Tuco is?
I'm assuming a drug dealer.
Yes, but like, do you remember Tuco?
No.
Okay.
That's the big thing, I guess.
No. Well, but that's like he's like very early on, like kind of first big guy. Born. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. No. No. Dexter. I haven't watched Dexter, and it's as whatever.
It's not as good as two different spectrums. Here.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's kind of what I remember, but I don't remember it being as lukewarm as it is.
Yeah, fair. Well, let's get into this.
This is Tom.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Welcome back to the mixtape.
Hello, everyone. This is TJ's Mixtape. I'm Tommy. That's Jacob. We're usually a movie review podcast, but we're taking a little bit of a break on that. So generally speaking, we review movies. We talk about who's in them, how they were made, and kind of give a general synopsis. Mm-hmm. But every now and then we do what we like to call banter episodes, where we just talk about some stuff that still pertain to the media, whether it be video games, comic books, movies, TV, so on and so forth. Yeah. And so this is episode 200.
Yeah.
200. So we decided to do something else and take it away.
Dream Reboots! This is one of my favorites of our banters.
I thought we were calling it Another Reboot.
It's Another Reboot!
Because mine's not like totally.
I mean,
like
okay,
that.
So this all started back.
The conversational points, and then we go back and forth about it.
Yeah. I mean, this all started, honestly, I feel every year there's like, Tommy's all like, I don't want to, he's like, just, it's like getting him to do this is kind of like pulling teeth sometimes. Mm-hmm. And
You're better at it than I am.
And the funny thing is that you always talk about these types of things, like in just regular conversation we have. And I'm like, yeah, write that down. And we can have that for, I always think about it. But like, this Dream Reboot idea is kind of your idea, and you're like...
I feel personally attacked right now.
Yeah,
you're all witnesses to it.
Yeah, good. Oh, shit. No, I didn't break it. Didn't break anything. Everything's fine.
I thought someone knocked on the door. It scared me.
So, yeah, pretty much every year during a banter, we call it Dream Reboot. I mean, will be another reboot. Because we've done it 4 times. We reboot the reboot of a reboot. Yeah. A reboot.
Just keep calling it that, and the more reboots it gets, just add more reboots. It'll be
Dream Reboot.
Yeah, I like it.
The reboot of the Dream Reboot as we reboot.
As we reboot.
We talk about like old franchises or properties, and we talk about like where we'll give a little like history of like what it is, and then what we think would be cool for it to do, or like maybe like why isn't this back in the zeitgeist of stuff, especially in this day and age where so many things are just getting rebooted or reimagined and whatnot. And we both agree that the popular franchises are getting these reboots because they, big companies, producing companies see that it's already a money made like
thing. Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
Actually,
Spider-Man.
That's a good point too. Is that these are things that usually we feel like could use a little bit of attention in that way with studios throwing money at it that's not already, that might be a big name in a very specific genre.
Yeah.
But it could use, if it went another way, we just think it would open up their fan base.
It's kind of like a thing is like, like Warriors of Virtue, let's use as an example, is a property that had so much potential and it went, shit the bed. And we look at this and we go, this is a really cool idea. Why aren't they trying to remake this? Instead, they're remaking again for with time of,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like they have that new Nickelodeon show.
Yeah.
I do like that in that show, though, just side note, they are actually like teenagers.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Which I was like, fine.
So that's kind of like that's kind of like what we do. And like in the past, if you haven't listened to any other episodes, we talked about, rebooting, remaking Johnny Quest, Spawn, Captain Planet, Darkwing Duck, All Real Monsters, SWAT Cats, and also some of these is like re-envisioning it like in a more adult theme as well, like Doug. I remember you were talking about that.
Yeah.
Animorphs, Gargoyles, Pirates of the Dark Water, Parasite Eve, Earthworm Jim. You one of your years you did 2,000 Leagues of Under the Sea. I forget exactly what you wanted with that.
Yeah, I forgot what I wanted.
And that was all the same year you did like DC Dark League. You talked about. And then I like Legend of Dragoon, which is a game I really liked. And I talked about reimagining Final Fantasy VI as an anime. I forget what you talked about last year. I don't know if you can remember. If you have the...
Fill the dead air.
No. Something, I mean, from last year, we're kind of talking about, there's a couple of these things of, like Gargoyles comic book is being published by Dynamite Comics. There was a Darkwing Duck reboot in development at Disney Plus with Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg involved as executive producers. So still waiting all that stuff. Also last year,
one of the notes was Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
That's right. Yeah.
I wanted them just to bring that back, but with more modern characters, I think. Like,
yeah.
Just do that formula.
Just kind of bring it back, pretty much.
Yeah, do that formula again.
Brain, where did my brain just go? All right, so let's just let's get into it.
You start.
All right. So my first one, I guess this really isn't a reboot, but this is
perfect because my first one's not technically.
But it is. You know how like some like in a lot of RPGs or games in general, there'll be like
It's a video game too?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a little like side like playable game in the game like Gwent in Witcher 3.
Okay, yeah.
So
I love.
Yeah. And a lot of those games are generally kind of like split with fan base and whatnot as well.
Like I like it so much I'm probably going to do a new game plus just to.
And I really want to. You have the actual card game, and I still want to sit down and play it with you.
Yeah,
well. Hey, yeah. So Final Fantasy is very famous for this as well. But
I have heard that.
Yeah. And they had like they had a card game in 8, and they had a card game in 9. But in 10, they switched it up, and they created an entire sport.
Okay.
That you play as a side quest, and it's called Blitzball.
Okay.
And they need to just make a Blitzball game, in my opinion. You've never played it, so let me explain it.
Okay.
I was just letting everybody out there listening let that sink in, because again, split fan base on it. I fucking love Blitzball. I think it's way too easy in the game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think it's the most ridiculous thing and impossible to win. But once you kind of figure out the easy mechanics of like having a character have just really good speed, and then you can just like run circles and then get everybody chasing you and then shoot your shot into the goal and I've won games 11-0.
Sports ball.
Yeah, pretty much. So Blitzball is kind of like hand soccer, basketball meets soccer in a way.
Okay.
So the idea of it is that you're in this giant sphere, like water sphere that you can breathe in.
Okay.
And it should be like, all dimensions, but the game, it's like just one dimension. Like you just go straight back and forth. And you have a goalie and you have 2 rear guards and then 2 2 like shooter positions, like forwards, and then 1 like center forward. So basketball meets soccer. And in the game itself, like and then like you have like your hit points are kind of like your power and whatnot. Then you have like an endurance meter and then a shot meter and a pass meter and then a catch meter. And all of these are all statistics that, depending on like what the character does more in the game, they increase.
Yeah.
And you're also the characters that you start off with in the game don't have to stay as your like team. As you travel through the game and you meet new people, some of them are Blitzball players, and you can give them contracts to play for you. Okay. And then you pay them like X amount of money for X amount of games.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it's like a management mechanic.
There's a management mechanic to it, yeah, as well. And also they learn like special abilities that like, increase like your shot or like your pass, or there's like a venom tackle for you to like use that to like break through somebody's defense a little more. And if it, the venom tackle hits, then it actually poisons them and their hit points go down slower, and it hurts their like ability of like passing and all that other stuff. There's like a stun one, a nap one. Because like it takes all these mechanics that are like in the battle system
and then makes it into like a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so the thing is, though, is that since it's actually like they never really could, and this is also like early PlayStation 2, like 2001.
Are you sure they haven't reintroduced it in any of the newer? Like I know
they haven't.
There hasn't.
They have not,
because there's like 2 newer ones, like Trailblazer or Dawn Blaze or something is coming out, right?
What?
I don't know. This isn't my shit.
I mean, Final Fantasy 16 recently came out, and it was meh, but given with like mixed reviews. Then 7, the Rebirth, I think, is the second of the remakes, has come out, and that's, I don't know. I'm tired of playing Final Fantasy 7, honestly. But
it was Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, that was the most recent. Well, that's not the most recent one, but in the numericals, it is the most recent one. And that's another thing. There are so many goddamn spin-offs of Final Fantasy games, and they have had spin-offs. Like they have 2 racing games called Chocobo Racing and Chocobo GP.
Why are there so many Final Fantasy 7s?
That's what I'm saying.
I know, but I don't get it. That's such a confuse. It's that thing. It's their
most popular release in the franchise, and so there's just shitloads of spin-offs from it. You never played it, so
no, I played the.
You played the remake. You never played the OG.
I know, but
so for a lot of people,
I don't get it.
Yeah, you do. You just like it with another property. You know what I mean? It's like a nostalgia thing.
No, I know, but I just mean as a. Okay, that's fine, but there's Fable 1, there's Fable 2, and there's Fable 1 and then Fable 1.5, which is basically just a DLC ending, and then Fable 2, and then Fable 3, right? There's not Fable 1, and then Fable 1.5, and then Fable 1.5 Part 2, and then Fable 1.5 Part 3. Now we're going to jump a little bit into the future, and then we're going to jump a little bit. It's very confusing.
Okay.
To an uneducated.
Do all the Fable games have a through line of the same story? Like same character, same...
No.
Okay.
They're all decades apart.
Decades apart. Okay.
Yeah, from what I remember.
Fair. So it's all the same world.
Yes.
Okay.
Albion.
There. Final Fantasy is just the reason why each number is its own world and universe.
We didn't even talk about the movies.
What?
We didn't even talk about the movies.
Final Fantasy movies?
Yeah.
There's only a couple.
It's fucking... And Sephiroth is showing up in 2 properties. It's so very confusing.
What other property does he show
Kingdom!
up in? Oh, yeah. Well, that's Kingdom Hearts. It's
What do you mean? That's my point. You can't go, oh, yeah, whatever. That's literally what I'm talking about.
That's Disney ruining stuff is what it is. Although Sephiroth is one of the coolest fucking...
I was like, nah, dude. I remember that fight. I didn't play it.
Sephiroth is one of the coolest
Yo, Kev.
optional bosses of all time. When I beat Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts, that was like a fucking crowning achievement.
Fucking dad coming in and turning off the PlayStation because we were pretending to be asleep at a sleepover, all screaming. Just quiet. He had to pretend to be asleep though. So they're like,
As he turns off because was he about to beat him?
yeah.
From
what I remember,
oh man,
we were sitting there. It was like late, and we're all like doing it quietly. Like, do it, and then boom.
Internal scream.
Yeah, an internal scream. It's very confusing.
Okay,
And
well,
it's Blitzball.
Blitzball.
It's such a lazy name. Blitzball. Do you blitz?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, no, that could be.
I guess it's football.
Yeah, you're
Baseball.
The whole idea. So the idea is
Basketball. I never actually put that.
that they all just are.
I just never really thought about it that hard.
Football, basketball,
Baseball. What do? You run by bases once you hit the ball.
All right, but blitzball. So starts off kind of like basketball. You know, the ball's released, and then whoever gets it, you know, gets the tip. You know, hands it off, starts it off. You pass it around, you pass it around, you pass it around. But if you're gonna make a shot, you have to kick it. You have to kick the ball, and then the goalie can block that.
Okay.
The thing with blitzball in Final Fantasy X, the actual like mechanic of it, is that you're technically swimming in this sphere, but you have no up and down. There's only like a y-axis. There's no x-axis. Mm-hmm. So, or even z-axis. Like it's literally just like you're running on a field type thing. So whenever I played it, you have like in the top corner like a little UI of like where your characters are as like an arrow. And I don't even watch where my character is on the actual screen swimming around. I just play it with that because the trick to the game is that if you have a fast character, then you like bait everyone on the other team to just kind of like start following you, and then you just kind of like go in a weird circle, and then once they're all behind you and like you got enough distance, then you just pause, you just like get close to their goal, and then you do your like setup for your shot, and they're already so far behind you. There's no one in front of you. You only have a goalie to kick through.
You're just imagining soccer.
It's pretty much I
just see Cloud running around playing soccer in my head.
But it's Titus, not Cloud, because Cloud is only in Final Fantasy VII. But I think it would be really cool for them to like. It just like there's so much like I don't think it'd be a huge like big seller, you know, but like Chocobo Racing and Chocobo GP both are kind of like their Mario Kart with chocobos, and you have the summons that you race with and other characters from Final Fantasy properties. They had a fucking theater. It's a Theater Rhythm, which is a rhythm-based game with all of like Nubo. I'm not even sure. I can't pronounce his name right now. The guy who did all the score for Final Fantasy. It's Final Fantasy music, you know, is iconic.
Yeah.
But you're playing a theater game or a rhythm game with that on the DS, which is a weird property to have. It was the Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think so. I kind of I feel like because you know, this wouldn't be a full-fledged game in the sense of like open worlds.
But you could.
Well, no, I'm just saying like
you create your character or your team. Or like your coach, I guess. Your leader.
But I guess what I'm getting at is that like it depends on what you want to do with it. You could run it out into a full-on, almost sports team simulator, like
like a Madden or like any MLB, like
or what's that other one? The kind of,
I mean, NCAA 25 just came out.
No, I'm thinking of like the Grand Theft Auto one.
Oh.
But it's like, you know, it's a
driver.
No,
Stuntman.
It was a long time ago.
Oh, I want to play Stuntman.
Blitz League. Is that what it was called?
That sounds familiar.
But yeah, it was like that. But you know,
Blitzball.
Blitzball. Yeah, it was like maybe
Rocket League.
You could do it like that, where you're more like, there's also like this kind of management aspect to it, or you could just make it the straightforward thing. And I think it would just kind of pay for itself if it was more on the latter, because I know the controversy behind it and everything, but there was a lot of talk about even like Harry Potter Legacy not having, or Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, not having Quidditch.
And people were like, what the fuck? And I was even like, yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of a big deal in that world, and it takes place at the school where they play it, and there's just no...
Yeah.
And I know they kept... I don't know if that ever changed. I know they kept talking about doing something with that, and I don't know if it ever did happen, but... like, I feel like something like that. And I'm just saying, I'm using that as an example because the amount of people that were verbally discussing that not being there, being really bizarre, I feel like a lot of those games you could probably make some form of, and it might have even end up paying for itself, whether it be a DLC or like a standalone, because people like that shit. It's the same thing as,
exactly.
Any of that, even that kind of small mobile kind of style, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters. Mm-hmm. People really like that game.
Yeah.
They really like it, and it's because it fixes that itch of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Nostalgia.
Exactly. Well, like,
so I think you could get it done.
Like, a thing that really, like, there was a limitation on the PlayStation 2 of just like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like how it was just so one-dimensional of a game, and also you had to play it. You had to play at least one Blitzball game in the game. It's part of the storyline as well. Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to... if it's so easy to actually win, but you... technically are kind of like, you can win, you get stuff, but if you lose, doesn't change the outcome.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But the whole like aspect of like, they never utilize the idea of what the thing of the game is, of just like it being in a, like, you're swimming around in a sphere, and it's so much of it is like more stop and go. You're not like actually like go controlling and like hitting square to like spin attack. It's like you're moving, and then all of a sudden someone you meet in the middle, or someone like gets in your screen, boom, and then pause, and then it turns into like a turn-based like combat.
Yeah.
Where you like choose what you're gonna do, and they choose what they're gonna do, and then you see it happen, and and then whatever, if it happens, it happens, or if it doesn't, it doesn't, type thing. And kind of almost turns into a game of rock paper scissors ish, like more like with just depending on stats. But it's so like to create a fluid game where it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna pass that person over there, and then it's like, oh, someone can come up and try to intercept it. An actual like interactive like version of it. It would, I think, would be so fucking fun.
Write letters.
There's probably, there's shit online about it. Yeah.
You didn't see anything about from the company themselves.
Oh no, SquareSoft is so far away from thinking about develop. Like there could be people out there, like indie people, maybe trying to develop an idea of it. But I wouldn't be surprised if SquareSoft also just has like fucking severe like copyrights on even like maybe like the looks of like a game that looks like Blitzball coming out,
Blitzball.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a management thing. Like even just like through story mode, you could even create a little bit of like a Final Fantasy. Oh, and also the world of Final Fantasy X. Like
I mean, it's a cool idea for a spin-off.
Yeah, well, I mean,
as opposed to
Final Fantasy X it was the first. It was the first game in North America to get a sequel release, Final Fantasy X-2. So the world has been lived in. Yeah, because it's the sequel to Final Fantasy X. It's not
11.
that hard. No, Final Fantasy 11 was an MMO.
It's like I want to keep ragging and hating on them, but it's also a huge property that makes them a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they're clearly doing something right. But
all right, my friend, we talked about Blitzball for a long time.
Okay. What I wrote down, which I kind of already talked to you about, but I gave it some more thought.
All right.
Kind of. and then verbalizing it to something else. Monster games. And what I mean specifically about that is video games in which you play as the monster.
Yeah.
Now, I know what you might be thinking.
There's a lot of them, actually.
No, not so much anymore. And what I mean is so more, in a sense, narrative-driven monster games. Because if you're like, oh, there are a lot of games you can play by as monsters. If you're thinking of like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th or Texas the Chainsaw Massacre, I'm not talking about
Jungle.
the... What?
Concrete Jungle.
What?
Predator, Concrete Jungle.
No,
Sorry.
that's different. No, I'm saying these ones.
Yeah.
These styles of 4 online, one
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
That. I don't mean that. I mean something like actually Predator, Concrete Jungle.
Yeah.
Where there was just this era where there was just a lot of video games and that you played as the monster, and Concrete Jungle is like, I just was really sitting there thinking about it, how it's really all just a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
Like the Predator is the monster to us, but
The hero to them.
I mean, no, not even that. He's trying to clean up the mess he made.
No,
He's just trying to collect his shit that we stole. You know, you're like, well. But it was just kind of like writing down, and I don't really have like a concrete thought, but I was just kind of more interested in the idea of why we strayed away from that in the more black and white sense, I guess, is a way. I don't know. Because there's like, even that there could be a conversation about The Last of Us.
I was just thinking that Joel's the real monster.
Yeah, it's like Last of Us, and that's kind of, you know, again, that goes in perspective. It's like Last of Us, Joel is our hero.
Yeah.
And you're like, well,
not perspective, the philosophy behind everything.
I mean, he is a murderer, and he kind of fucked up the chances of a cure. I don't know. I'm not gonna spoil it.
But we don't know if it actually could have been like.
Yeah, but
he is being a little selfish, trying to save Ellie.
No, but then you're like, well, I mean, that's a lot of trauma to ask someone to live through again.
Yeah,
and watch it happen again.
Yeah,
it's a lot, you know. But I was just thinking about, because even then, like, and I've noticed because I've gotten my hands on a couple of the older ones, and I was like, it was such a fun era because there was a lot of humor to it too. Like Destroy All Humans recently, and I mean recently in the last year or so, they had a remaster, and that's a very, and it's more of good kind of curious of why you think that trend ended, more so on that narrative driven kind of like Destroy All Humans, Stubbs the Zombie.
I mean, games like those still come out, but they're more just mobile games. And I mean,
Did you think that it just evolved?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like, you know, a lot of those games are just very, like, the IP can be very like copy and paste, you know, or not copy and paste, but like put a new mask on it, and it's the same thing, but it's this now.
Yeah, I guess so. I just always thought it was interesting because it's like, I feel like a lot of those games too inevitably ended up becoming like a power fantasy behind it, like Overlord. I don't know if you ever played that.
No.
You're like a god. You're actually, now that I'm like thinking about it in my head, you're Sauron.
Fair.
You're Sauron, and you have a bunch of little troll minions, and like, you know, it's, no, it is. It's evil pigmen.
No, okay, fair.
Yeah, so you have like the
See
fire.
what I mean? It's a mask.
Yeah, but you know, you send them and you're trying to get your trove, you know, collect all the treasure and make your castle bigger, and you know, it becomes like this kind of like power fantasy. But I think that it's fun to be bad, because even like Stubbs the Zombie, I'm like really losing my thought here. I just wondering why. Well, because when we were kind of talking about it off mic a little while ago, I just think that there's this taking what has already been created and then adding the idea of what you mentioned, a narrative to it, but kind of going back to the not as serious narrative as an example of Joel.
Yeah.
Is because that's some really heavy shit. I just think that it would be fun.
You're kind of being like, I want an Invader Zim game is kind of what you're saying.
That exists. It's called Destroy All Humans. No, but I was just, or maybe even like these remasters, because I was just going back and I made like a list of 15.
Okay.
Where you play as arguably the villain, or the monster.
Yeah.
And then there's, and these are all just, I was just going off memory, you know. I was like, okay, this is definitely one. This is one. And I realized that there are so many different genres within that genre alone.
Yeah.
Destroy All Humans being a comedy. And then I even wrote down Vampire, which came out.
Fair.
I don't know what, probably more than that. How many years ago? A few years ago.
6, 7?
Yeah, and even that one, which I know that one got like a lot of update, but that one when it came out was kind of whatever, and then apparently has had a resurgence from updates and everything. But then that one is more of a drama about you playing as a vampire and the conflict of giving into your bloodlust needs or trying to fight and keep your humanity. But even then, that didn't have that cool feeling of being a vampire.
Yeah, I mean, because like Legacy of Kain.
Ooh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That would be a cool property to come back. Let's bring back Legacy of Kain. I forgot about that shit. That shit was cool.
I mean, that's kind of like where I feel like
I think that's the sweet middle ground right there.
Yeah.
Where you're playing as the villain, but you're also...
But he's got his own hero's journey of like...
And then
he's a monster, but it's definitely... He's got like an objective that is like for a betterment of himself or something, you know?
Well, then, yeah, and then also playing... And then Blood Omen was one of the first times I personally ever experienced where you're playing both of the opposing forces, the enemies for each other.
Yeah, you're playing Raphael and Kain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After Kain attempts to murder him and creates him into this new soul vampire thing.
Soul Reaver.
Yeah. That was cool. I forgot about that. That was a great series. I didn't write that one down. That's a good one. That was cool. Like that. Okay, there we go. That's what I want. There's my reboot. I want Legacy of Kain back.
All right, we journeyed. We found it.
I want to remaster or something. Actually, no, I feel like that one you'd have to just
That would be a really cool property to redo.
I think you just have to remake it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can remaster it.
I mean, they could do like the soft reboot, like the Devil May Cry soft reboot bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
I would
You're
be
like,
also,
it looks prettier. Does it?
Yeah.
Does it though?
I would be afraid though that they would just turn it into a Devil May Cry style game though.
I mean, but
because like that's where like Devil May Cry really is like the evolution of that Soul Reaver Legacy of Kain type of
button
games.
mashy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
even
just
even like the original God of Wars were like that.
Oh God, the original God of Wars are. There you go. There's another monster game.
Yeah, I guess he has a monster.
Kratos is a monster. They call him the Ghost of Sparta. And I think it's funny. I think it might be interesting. That might be an interesting statement for people that are maybe younger and only really played the most recent pair.
Boy.
Yeah, that one. But no, if you play 1, 2, and 3, and then there was one on the PSP somewhere in there. Ascension.
That's actually the Chains of Olympus.
No, maybe there's another one because I know there's one called God of War Ascension.
Oh, yeah, I played Chains of Olympus.
Yeah, and
There might be too, yeah.
Yeah, it might be. Play those. Kratos is a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, he's calmed down a lot. And it's kind of, and that's also
Old man Kratos.
And even then, it's like he's not really that. He's still seething with rage throughout the entire thing, but he's definitely chilled the fuck out comparatively. But I don't know, because I also just recently finally finished Carrion, which was a 2D side-scrolling kind of mystery, but you play this creature that's attempting to get out of the facility that it was created in and find out why. And it's a very cool storytelling game because there's not dialogue because it's all from the perspective of the monster.
Yeah.
So you're not...
I think just in general, the reason why there's not a lot more games in this capacity is the creativity to it is it's not as easy to write as like we're gonna be the heroes type thing, you know, because that's such a easy cut, dry, and a digestible story that so many people already like and want. You know, the majority of people really want to, you know, play out their hero fantasy, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so then it's more like these type of games that, you know, people like us who just like the creativity of it and think it's fun to like think through the villain's point of view, you know.
Yeah.
That we get that, but then it inherently then just kind of starts to bring in this philosophy of like what is morality. And
because once you start taking that hero's journey thing and you start putting in the eyes of the villain, you start getting stuff like Last of Us, Red Dead Redemption, where it starts getting really heavy and it's kind of lose some of the whimsy of it.
Yeah.
Because then on the other end, if you do keep some kind of through line, like I just thought of the Punisher game.
Oh, I never played it.
It's wild. But the Punisher game, it has the story of Frank Castle, who is our anti-hero, whatever. Yeah. But because I think it was on the original Xbox, you're going around and you get more points for the more creatively you kill people. Like there's one I remember the one
sounds like a fucking Grand Theft Auto shit.
But it's like once you start talking about that, you just sound like that sounds fun. You just sound like a psycho.
Like when I fucking cheer for like the teenagers to get killed in the slasher movies.
Or like I was like, yeah, you know, like there's the one you're walking through the aquarium and there's the piranha tank and you get extra points for sticking his head, the bad guy's head in the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, that's so cool. But you're also like, I should talk to someone about that. Even doing research for this, there's this game called Ravenous Devils, and it starts off and it's like, have you ever wanted to be Sweeney Todd? Well, in this game, you can.
Have you ever just wanted to be a serial killer?
Yeah, and I was like, I mean, I wouldn't start off it like that.
God
but
damn.
It's like, you know, I can't remember what the term for it is, but you know, it's the building, it's cut in half, and it's a management building, a management simulator.
Oh, okay.
So you're
yeah.
making but instead it's a cafe and a tailor. So you're killing people, taking their clothes, selling them, and turning them into food to sell to the. And I was like, that sounds dope. It's like $5 in the PlayStation Network right now. I was like, let's go.
Someone literally was like, I want to turn Sweeney Todd
into a video game. And that's actually kind of what I like about this genre. But you're sitting there like, really? All right, let's go.
There's some people out there that fucking, I don't know. It's pretty genius.
It's a pretty great idea. Like honestly, it really is.
Yeah, and if not, it is fun. If anything, you know.
Yeah. It's like it's a fucking video game, you know. Like,
yeah.
But I just thought of that, and it
sounds like it's not so much more monster as in more like games that the play style or play of it is you're doing more evil villainous things.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think a good recent one could even be like Cult of the Lamb.
Fair.
Is under this kind of cutesy. It kind of fits what I'm talking about.
But you're still fighting the devil as well, you know. It's like you're creating a cult and you're like sacrificing them, but you're still like going on to fight the four evil spirits.
I didn't beat it yet, so
I haven't beat it as well.
I don't, from what I have gathered, they are not the evil one. Your god is the evil one.
It's evil versus evil, really.
Yeah, they're not. They're all not great.
Yeah,
they're all elder gods. They're all very.
Yeah, exactly.
They all don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
About anyone.
I mean, a really big thing is just like what you were talking about. Is like a lot of the just Rockstar or Grand Theft Auto games. I feel like your characters really aren't the most like, they're kind of monsters, you know, in a philosophical sense of way.
Yeah, especially with
they're criminals or
with the most recent one. You know, some are worse than the others, kind of thing. Like Franklin is, I don't know, probably the best. He's the best out of all of them.
Which one's he from?
The most recent one. What is that? 6, 7, 5?
6. Yeah, maybe 5.
5.
One of the characters in 5 because he plays like
he plays 3.
3 of them. Trevor
is the psycho, the redneck guy.
Yeah.
Then there's Michael, who's kind of the ex-mob, kind of looks like a soprano character.
Okay.
And then there's Franklin, who they bring, black guy.
He's the black guy. Okay.
Yeah, that they bring in, the younger guy.
Yeah, he's the first one you play as.
I believe.
I'm pretty sure you start off
as him.
Cool.
But to finish that up, I'm now like kind of saying it out loud. I'm like, well, inherently, because I was even wrote down like Incredible Hulk. That could be an argument for the monster game, but even that becomes just a big button mash.
Yeah,
I mean, it was fun, but
Hulk smash.
You literally make cars into boxing gloves.
That's cool.
You like boom, boom, her. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I want more morally questionable.
It sounds like it's also kind of thematic for you as well.
Yeah,
like the theme of it in a, you know.
Well, I guess even Fable too. You can play as the villain. You can make him into the villain.
Baldur's Gate, you can be a villain.
Yeah, that one I was like, that's a good one. Baldur's Gate 3, playing as the Dark Urge. And I was like, well, I do have Baldur's Gate. I could just do that. Fit that.
All right. You have any more thoughts with it? Okay.
That was just me rambling on for 20 minutes. Sorry about that.
Kind of.
Told you. I thought about it, but didn't really think about it. We'll just cut all that out.
The episode's just me talking. All right. My next property, which upon doing research, I realized there's a lot more of this than I knew.
Okay.
And I've brought this up before to you.
Okay.
I've showed you pictures of this horrible, fun movie that has Mark Hamill in it called The Guyver.
Okay.
Remember the biosuit thing that I brought up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, to give you just kind of like the background of the Guyver, pretty much it's a biomechanical suit that attaches to a guy. The story of it is that the Guyver unit is created by this Kronos Corporation that is ran by these, I guess, aliens. I don't really know if they're alien or just like ancient species, called Zoonoids, with their leaders, the Zoolords. So they can take a human form and then they can take their zoonite form. But the Guyver unit takes over a young man's body and he uses it to fight the Zoonoids and try to save the planet from them trying to overtake it.
Okay. I remember this now.
It's originally a shonen manga called Bio Booster Armor Guyver. And I didn't know this. It went on hiatus in 2016. It started in 1986 or like 1984 or something. So I was when I read that hiatus in 2016, I was like, holy shit. I didn't realize that it didn't end really.
Yeah.
And it's on a hiatus, so it didn't end. Like, I was like, so I was really shocked by that because I was gonna be like, let's bring back this just property. Let's do it now. And I'm like, oh, it's actually just kind of done. And then so in 1986 to 1992, and there was an anime that aired that adapted the first five volumes of the manga. And then in 1991, the American-made movie was released, which had some, in my opinion, crazy good makeup effects for the time. They didn't translate very well in use on camera, but the fucking monsters on them and the prosthetics are still really fucking cool looking.
Yeah, I was looking because this is 91, so they look pretty cool.
And they made a sequel, 1992. I don't really remember that one. I don't think it was very good. Also, a very large departure from what the actual I guess what the actual story is, but isn't. I mean, they made it, you know, some Americans took this Japanese property and made it American.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was also in 2005 another anime released called Guyver the Bio Boosted Armor, and that adapted the first 10 volumes and it was released in North America in 2010. So actually in the last like 20 years, there has been kind of like a reboot, redoing of it for an anime, which I'm now really interested to go watch because I just really like the Guyver idea, this alien-ish like suit that, you know, can make you like invincible. It's like Power Rangers, but one guy.
Yeah, and I was looking at some. I ended up on Amazon looking at some of the action figures for them. They look cool.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't even think about action figures. Of course, you thought about action figures.
It was the link.
I don't know. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying. Of course, it's like you're the action figure guy.
Yeah, and I was just thinking. I just saw a couple images of them. I was like, oh, these would make really cool figurines.
Yeah, probably,
and they make really cool figurines. I just don't know who anyone is.
So, what's really funny with the movie, which I want to sit down and just watch with you one day. We don't need to do a review of it because it's god awful, but it'd just be a fun viewing. We need to go to Scarecrow so we can find it there. Because I found it online to watch, but it's like a really shady fucking like pirate website type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the poster, it's like promoted Mark Hamill in the Guyver, and he's a CIA agent. He's not the Guyver at all.
Well, even on the poster it says Mark Hamill, Star Wars. Tiny little letters.
Does it say Star Wars?
It says Mark Hamill, Star Wars.
That's fucking funny.
Just tiny.
So like the premise, like the history of the movie, directed by special effects artist Screaming Mad George, who is a Japanese special effects makeup artist. He did. Oh god damn it! I forgot to write it down. Oh, he worked on like Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street 4. And like the moments of the special effects in those movies are really what drew. Oh no, he also worked on Predator, and that's right. And
I see that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Predator DNA.
Mm-hmm. And so then through that, he kind of got the go ahead to do this direct this Guyver movie. And
Why are there gremlins in it?
are there? What?
I don't.
Well, show me that. Show me what you're looking at. Why didn't you do the spin thing? Oh, that's okay. That's one of the zoonoids. It just looks like a gremlin. It's not a gremlin.
It's a gremlin.
It looks like a gremlin.
It's a gremlin.
It's not a gremlin
It's
because that thing's 6 feet tall.
Okay, wait, what are we at right now?
46-ish.
46. You are taking this image and you're putting it there.
All right.
It's a gremlin.
It's not a gremlin.
It's a gremlin.
It looks like a gremlin, but it's not a gremlin. It's a zoonoid.
We don't know where gremlins came from.
It's true. We don't.
So all gremlins might be zoonoids. I will concede to that. Continue. Moving on.
So my initial thought with all of this was, hey, let's it would be cool to do maybe the manga proper anime, or a new anime, reboot that. And I was like, oh, well, it happened in 2005. Pretty new already. I want to watch that before, knock it. Oh, and also the manga, it's more about, it's more like this high school student who gets taken, that finds the Guyver unit, and there's 3 total Guyver units in the actual manga and whatnot, and one of them is the bad guy has, and one of them another the Ronin of them all has type thing. But it's all modern time. It's a high school kid that gets it, and he's protects the girl that he's in love with. It's very, it's shown in manga, so it's for young adults type thing.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, it's this young kid. You don't really know if he's in high school or not. I think he's a college student, and he's in a dojo learning karate, dating this great. It's very loose. Yeah, it's not a very good, well written movie. But so I was sitting there, I was like, well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe what I want to see is a live action Guyver bio boosted armor with the proper storyline of what the original was.
Yeah.
Because it's fun, or even just I don't know. I just want to see more guy. I want to watch the Guyver. I really just brought this up because I wanted to talk about the Guyver.
I mean, this would have been good with Star Kid.
Kind of would have. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting, looking at the armor of what I'm assuming is based more off the manga.
Manga. It's not mango. It's a manga.
It's a mango. They kind of went more the good guy's armor does not make him look like a good guy.
No,
he looks kind of scary.
When I stumbled upon these movies on Sci-Fi Channel when I was a kid, and I was just so taken. I thought they were so fucking cool. And
that's Mark Hamill.
Yeah, you got to think this is post Return of the Jedi by 4 years.
No, I know, but in this picture specifically, he looks like Thomas Hayden Church.
Oh, weird.
I thought it was him.
That's weird. We are starting to run a little long, so I'm going to try to wrap. I'm going to just do so we can get into your next one. Yeah. So I want the Guyver. I want more of the Guyver. I want everybody to watch the Guyver.
And is it really just because of that? Because of this, just because the Power Ranger kind of aspect of the cool suit? What about it?
I do remember when I the transformation. It's kind of body horror too, with how he gets the suit attached to him because it's painful. He's and it's
yeah, I've seen. I think I've seen.
It's biomechanical, but just the look of this. I just remember as a kid, I want to be the Guyver because it makes him super strength, and he did karate, kung fu. I wanted to be a Power Ranger when I was a kid,
Well, that's what it seems like. It seems like a slightly more adult, creepy Power Ranger.
100%, because even it has blades that come out of the elbow that he would slice and cut people with, and it was very much more adult kind of Power Ranger-y type thing.
Alien taking parasitic.
Yeah.
It's kind of
because even he finds out, he's I
don't know why that's my lizard brain is but my lizard brain too is ugh.
Right?
Sounds pretty cool though. I don't know. They sound like they're clicky. I don't know.
Yeah.
More Guyver. That's what you want.
Or I mean, I'll watch. Finish the manga so then we can have I don't know do another anime.
Do you like reading manga? Mango?
Yeah. I mean, it's like reading comic, but I don't own any mangas. They're long.
I saw one at the bookstore the other day that had one of the best titles I've read in a while.
Oh.
What is it? My lesbian experience with loneliness. I just thought it was a great title. I really liked it.
Well, what's your next IP, Tommy?
So I went with, I think that we have finally gotten to the point where and granted the same thing, not done property, but I think we finally gotten to a point in the world where we can make a Saga TV show.
Yeah, you were talking about this. How old is this comic, actually?
2011?
Oh, really?
2012.
Okay, I thought it was actually older than that. I thought it was like maybe early 2000s.
Yeah, the first one came out in March 2012. And for those of you who don't know, Saga is a space opera, high fantasy graphic novel about pretty cut and dry in the idea and some of the ideas and then other ideas. But basically, two warring nations of extraterrestrial beings. Two of them meet basically at a POW camp. The woman is the guard and the man is the prisoner. They end up falling in love, and their species have been at war for centuries. And they end up falling in love, which then causes a rift in the political system because that's not okay. And then, spoiler? Yeah, sorry. Spoiler alert, they have a kid later on, pretty quickly in the series, but they end up having a kid, and then that becomes a conflict because how the hell did our two species have a kid? They're not supposed to be able to do that. So now both sides of the...
Because love finds a way.
Both sides of the galactic war are now trying to get their hands on this kid to figure out how that happened.
Test baby.
Some of them want to
type.
just kill the kid because the kid is a symbol of peace is an option, obviously. And so it's just so that's the idea.
That's really cool. I've never read it, and you've never really explained it to me that depth. So this makes it sound really fucking cool.
So and then it becomes
it's like Romeo and Juliet if they didn't die.
It's Romeo and Juliet. It's Romeo and Juliet in space.
Yeah.
With high fantasy elements. Yeah. And the thing is, that might sound pretty cut and dry in the sense of writing, which you know it can be, but what they really nail it on is the politics, the characters, and the visual aspects to Saga.
It's isn't it the same art director that did Fifth Element?
I didn't see that. The art for the comic was Fiona Staples.
Okay.
Who's known for such things as DV8, Gods and Monsters,
okay,
Thunder Agents, and Archie. And it was written by Brian K. Vaughan, who is known for Why the Last Man, The Runaways, Ex Machina, Paper Girls. So these are two pretty good like powerhouse comic book people.
Yeah.
But the big selling point to it is the visual aspect because it is very bizarre but really beautiful.
Doesn't it look a lot like stuff from Fifth Element?
Yeah, I could see that. Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about that, but yeah, it has this Fifth Element kind of thing. But even then one of the royal family for one of the sides of this galactic war they remind me of God, what is that show? He pulls things out of his forehead. Fooly Cooley. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of, there's moments that reminds me of Fooly Cooley. And this royal family are walking, talking humanoid TVs.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They like monitor heads and, you know, like, but it's very funny, very, what was the, did I lose it? Yeah, I lost it. But I just think the art style is pretty incredible, and things that I lost my train of thought. But I guess what I was getting at is with the success of certain things, and I say success, but other people obviously, because this whole genre, the comic book being adapted thing, has all this controversy with fans. But with the example of things like Umbrella Academy, Doom Patrol, Peacemaker, The Boys.
Honestly, the way that you're describing it with like its political nature, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. I only think that the reason, and there was a 2013 interview with the writer and artist where they were kind of like, basically, I'm paraphrasing, but we're fine with it being in a comic book because we can pretty much do whatever we want.
Yeah.
When they were talked to about making it to a TV show. That was over 10 years ago. And I was just kind of like, well, now I think especially, and if you don't really know what Saga looks like, I would say look it up to kind of get what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I think we're actually at a point with special effects and you could really make this really pop and it'd be a really cool series. And there's sex and there's murder and there's family. And a lot of people are like, I remember looking at some criticisms about how it's anti-family. And you're like, the whole thing's about family. It's a mother and father trying to protect their fucking daughter. Like, what are you talking about?
It's about family.
It's family.
Do it for the family.
But I just think that, and I know that like even one of our friends didn't like Peacemaker because of its departure. I mean, obviously with this kind of thing, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But for me, a lot of the time, and the one that keeps popping in mind too is probably Umbrella Academy and then Watchmen. Because those are such aesthetically driven shows.
Yeah.
Umbrella Academy has a very distinct look to it, both in the graphic novel and the show.
Yeah.
And I think Saga would be a really cool.
I can't get out of my head right now with you saying this of just Game of Thrones in space, pretty much.
It would be, but the thing is too, with Saga, it's funny. There's humor to it too, and I don't feel like there's really a lot of in Game of Thrones. There is a oh shit,
In Game of Thrones, there's far and few between some humor, generally specifically with Tyrion Lannister, but definitely not in House of Dragon. There's zero humor.
It's fucking bleak. Well, like even example, there's a character we meet, and I'm totally blanking on his name now, so forgive me, but. He is a bounty hunter, and his Chewbacca basically is a giant cat.
Yeah.
Giant cat's name is Lying Cat. And because Lying Cat knows when you're lying, so whenever you say a lie, the cat just goes, liar.
What's it? So, like, I know I keep saying, like, Game of Thrones, but, like, I think more it's just in, like, budget and maybe, like, filming-ish type, just, like, big budget.
Who to do it?
No. Like for aesthetic wise, because you're talking about like thing with like Umbrella Academy, like there's something is like with the humor. I'm trying to think of what show is coming to my mind, but it's like you have all this humor, and then all of a sudden it gets super fucking real really fast.
Yes.
And you're like, oh shit, that just hit you like a ton of bricks.
Yes.
Invincible does that.
Yeah, that's another good example. I mean, yeah, maybe that would be the better way to go. I would want to see it live action, not animated, just to see the world. And what kind of made me think of it was that movie series Rebel Moon.
Yeah, okay.
That kind of felt like that. This really big sci-fi high fantasy thing.
Yeah.
Where it's not only just in space, but there's kind of magic, but it's just kind of science we're not really explaining, but...
Magic is just science we don't understand.
Yeah, and that's really what this world feels
Thank you,
like.
Thor.
Oh, yeah, that is Thor, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. The first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he explains magic
What
too.
do you call magic? That'd be a cool impression to learn how to do.
Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah, but as Thor, not just, hello. Like, another!
Another! He's a friend from war.
And I had some ideas for casting and stuff, but I didn't even really want to get into that because I was just like, it's such a pastel-y, interesting world. Like there's a other bounty hunter that we meet who is kind of like this on and off affair with our main bounty hunter we're following. And she is this spider-like creature. So she has like the legs of the bottom half of a spider and then the torso of a woman.
No, she's a drider.
Yeah, she's a Drider, but she has no arms and she has this long white hair and I think that's
Oh God.
that's what
Just I don't know. Just makes.
but
me,
they do it.
they do
They
it.
do it, and I'm just like really, really want that scene to be real because I just want people in that reaction on the internet to be like, he fucked the spider lady. Just think it would be cool.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
The spider lady.
That was our part 4
It's like
of
in
Dream
Baldur's Gate.
Reboots.
Did you lick the spider? That's disgusting.
I forgot about that.
I like that they added that after the fact. But yeah, Saga. Saga has to be in my top 10, and it's not done yet, so I'm not sure.
Oh, so there's
It's still going. They have issues out, but I have been collecting the books, which is you know. So I have book 3. I'm just waiting for book 4 to come out to continue.
Fair.
I probably should go back to book 3 because it's been a while.
Yeah.
To kind of remember what was going on. But Saga, I picked up the first issue of Saga and immediately fell in love. And then any single time I've seen them come out with a new one, I don't even question it. I just either order it or I go to the and pick it up because I think they're phenomenal. And I think that I want a live action TV show, but if you were to do the Invincible treatment, I wouldn't be angry about it.
From what I've seen from the artwork and whatnot, and what you have just told me, I do think that an animated treatment, I think, would probably be the best way to do it.
I know, but it'd be cooler if it was live action with the costumes and the makeup and stuff. I just think it'd be cool. I want to see Spider Lady alive.
You want to see someone fuck a spider?
You
is
don't
what you're
see
saying.
them fuck. You just know they.
You know,
fuck.
if Zack Snyder's doing this, he's gonna make you watch it.
Watch the Spider Lady fuck.
God, so gross.
I just thought of like Web Weaver.
Oh God.
That happens when I'm nervous.
Oh God, that was so gross.
That was so
gross.
Him and the Deep are so upsetting to me as characters.
The Deep doesn't get me. Web Weaver really got me.
Really? I don't know. Dude, the Deep really upsets me.
Really?
Like last time I was watching it, he was just sitting there. Kevin, man, I can't. Kevin, I need you to die. Something happen to you because I am sick and tired of your weird bullshit, bro. I do like the weird little bond that they have now. But bro, really, bro? Bro, I can't stand him. What's up, cum burgers? And I'm like, can you go away? I'm on everyone's side with that. Go away, Kevin. No one wants to sit with you. Sorry, I just haven't talked to you about that, but he's really upset.
All right, we're a little over an hour, honestly.
How many carrots are we giving it?
I like your Saga one. I really like your Saga idea.
I just think it would be cool, and because I was so stuck on the live action thing, I didn't even think about an Invincible treatment.
Fair, yeah.
Shit, man, give it to fucking Seth Rogen. He's been doing pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, granted, he's not following everything to a T, which is kind of nice because you kind of get something different.
I mean, he's just throwing money at projects for these things to be done. I mean, I don't think he has much creative output in it. He's just an executive producer on a lot of shit.
Yeah, but we just learned that can mean a couple different things.
Like, he's giving the green light on, like, it's like, yeah, okay, this looks good. But at a certain point, you see how many things he's producing. There's no way he's
totally.
Yeah.
But at least I think in this vein, it's like with The Boys and Invincible, the people they have involved with the creative decisions care about the property and want to do it justice, which is something that's really nice because we've seen so many times people get involved with this stuff and have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like even the whole, getting Simon Pegg to play Huey's dad. They're like, well, that's a cool little thing.
Well, and that's Eric Kripke as showrunner,
Yeah.
Really like, yeah, and that's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg hiring Aaron Kripke.
Yeah.
So they're searching out the person to do the proper right of the show running.
Yeah.
That's So, I mean, so the thinking like who would be like, I was thinking like it would be live action. What you're talking about for Saga, I think Zack Snyder would be a great person to do it. He might ruin it. Who knows? Zack Snyder could die. Go either way with him.
Say it.
I love Zack Snyder. I love what he does. A lot of his stuff, generally, it takes a couple of years for it to grow on me. And then I'm like, why did I knock this so hard? You know?
Like his 6-hour long Justice League movie?
Like, and that's the flip for me. That was like, I was excited for it when it first came out. And now I look back, I'm like, man, we don't need that. Well, we need it, but we don't need all of it.
You were really into it in the beginning.
I was, yeah.
I had to watch it twice.
Rough.
Back to back. And that's probably why I'm like, no. Thank you.
Watchmen. When I first watched Watchmen, I was kind of meh. And then...
The movie?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the show?
I tried to.
The show's cool.
Oh, yeah. But yeah.
We don't know what we're doing next week.
No, we don't know what we're doing next week.
Thanks for listening. That was a banter.
Oh, Jesus.
We just talked to you for a while.
Monsters and Saga, and then...
Yeah, let's go over it. Monster, Saga, Blitzball, and...
The Guyver.
Guru.
The Guru. No, the Love Guru? Sorry, Mike Myers?
The Mango Guru.
The Mango Guru. Well, you can find us on all
How do you
platforms.
say it?
Manga.
No, I know that. I'm just being an asshole. No,
Oh.
the Guyru. What do you say?
Guyver.
Guyver. Like
Yeah.
giver, but with a guy.
Yeah, you looked it up. You can see the word right there in front of you.
You can see the word in front of you.
That's you. That's what you sound like.
It's the SpongeBob meme. I didn't just pick it up. So follow us if you want to on Facebook and Instagram. Our promos are on there of what's coming up. Starting next week, we'll go back to the movie review. So keep an eye out for those promos to see what we're doing. If you have any suggestions or ideas, let us know. Any comments or recommendations, same thing. Our email's on there, but probably Messenger is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I would DM us.
Yeah, let's be real.
You gotta slip into them DMs.
You gotta slip into them DMs. Thanks for listening. This is Tom.
This is Jacob.
This is
Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Give me the